few seconds away from switching to the redundant sense sequencer. T-minus 27 seconds. We have gone for redundant set sequencer start. T-minus 20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15, 14, 13, T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. We've gone for main engine start. We have main engine start.
Ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll.
Church, how's everybody all awake this morning? Make some noise. Here we go. Now look at them yo-yos, that's the way you do it. You play the guitar on the MTV. That ain't working, that's the way. Chicks for free. Now that ain't working, that's the way to do it. Let me tell you, them guys ain't dumb. Baby, get a blister on your little finger. Baby, get a blister on your thumb. We got to install microwave oven, custom kitchen delivery. We got to move these refrigerators. We got to move these color TVs. Jenny, who can I turn to? You give me something I can hold on to. I know you think I'm like the others before. Who saw your name and number on the wall? Jenny, I got your number.
Turn it on. Leave it on. America, see the music you want to see.
I want my MTV.
I want my MTV.
I want my MTV.
I want my MTV.
24 hours a day on cable TV.
Stereo, interview, guest DJ, tour day, world premiere video special, music news. I want my MTV, MTV, MTV.
Yeah, too much is never enough.
What is up, Simple Church? Good morning! It's 675-309. So y'all got it. Come on, dude. It's time to sing a little. It's the 80s, man. How fun is that, huh? I'm going to tell you, in our office, this was the biggest debate of all time. Not theology, not the Bible, not Jesus. What 80s songs we would play today. That's what I want you to know. They are arguing. Dude, we printed them off and everybody's fighting and arguing. It was not unity, dude. We were divided. But I can tell you, it was a lot of fun. And as we get ready to go next week, get ready. We got more to come. Even today, we got a few more, all right? So it's going to be a lot of fun with that. But some of you, I know, if you're a guest, you're going, what does 80s and Christmas have in common? What is this all about? Well, today, I promise you, you're going to walk out of here and go, now I get it. Because we were thinking through in all the things that have happened in Simple Church history, and there's a couple of things we really like. Dude, I am a product of the 80s. I grew up in the 80s. Anybody else? Any other 80s in here, right? So good. So here's the deal. You'll understand and relate to, a few things that we do today. But the rest of you, I promise you, even if you didn't grow up in the 80s, you're going to go, I get it, man. Now I'm beginning to see a little bit. But I want to take you on a little journey and tell you why we called it a totally 80s Christmas. Here's the reason. There are a lot of similarities between Christmas and the 80s. And you're going, dude, that's a stretch. No, let me give you a good example. To me, there is nothing more fun than Christmas, man. It's presents, man. It's good food. You know what I'm talking about? And it's just a lot of fun. People are coming together. It's just parties. You're having a great time. Well, the same thing goes for the 80s. You know what I'm saying? We had a good time in the 80s. There was a lot of fun in the 80s. But I want to prove that by combining the two, doing a little bit of music, a little bit of fun there with a little bit of Christmas. And if you grew up in the 80s, you'll get this. If the rest of you have no idea what I'm talking about, but let me see if I can find this. Oh, let me go back. Yeah, this will be good. Let me show you what I'm talking about, dog. Turn it up for him, Jay. Christmas.
It's Christmas time in Hollis, Queens. Mom's cooking chicken and collard greens. Rice and stuffing macaroni.
That's the 80s right there. Keep it in the center, baby. Go ahead and throw them up. Get your hands up, 80s people. All the 80s in the house, say, huh? What? Oh! Ho! Oh, see, I got issues. Y'all pray for me. But, dude, that's Run DMC. You know what I'm talking about? Anybody know what I'm talking about, dude? Come on. Dude, Adidas wasn't even on the map until Run DMC came in. You know what I'm saying? They put on their shoes, but that's a Christmas song with the 80s group. Dude, I'm like, yes, because it's fun. It has a good time with it. But it wasn't just the music that would do it for us. I'm going to be honest with you. I know that on Christmas morning in our house, you get up and you run in there to the presents and all that stuff, and there's one key element that you forget, and that is to take care of the hair on your head. Y'all know what I'm talking about? On Christmas, you don't care about your hair. You want to get to the tree, the presents. Let me show you a picture of what I'm talking about. Here is a little girl. Dude, she ain't worried about her hair, dude. She is not worried, but she wants to know what's under that tree, right? Here's a little boy. Let me show you this. This is the way it works right there. Now you're going, what are the similarities? What are you talking about, Christmas and 80s? Well, this is what I mean. Hair didn't matter much in the 80s either, because check out this next cat. Look at that. It's a combo of those last two kids. You know what I'm saying? There's similarities there. That's the way it is. But it wasn't just in the hairstyle. It's the same way on Christmas morning. You don't care about what you're wearing, do you? No, man, you get up and you just run in there, you're having a good time, and the next thing you know, you're going, man, how did I get in this outfit? Well, the same thing happened in the 80s, dude. Let me just show you an example. You're like, dude, how did I get in this outfit? Now, let me tell you something. Listen, us that grew up in the 80s, let the 80s stay in the 80s. Let the half shirt go, man. You know what I'm saying? Thank God that didn't make it into this. Look at them Daisy Duke shorts that dude had on, man. I'm like, dude, let it go. All right, let it go. But it was the way it is, back then, the 80s, the same way on Christmas. You don't care about your hair. You don't care about your clothes. But there is one other thing that I want to talk about, and that is Christmas is a lot of memories, just like I said in the 80s. Man, we had a lot of memories from the 80s. And one particular memory that I have is my mom.
She wasn't big in MTV. You know, everybody's like, you saw all that MTV stuff, dude? How many grew up watching MTV? You know what I'm talking about, dude? Yeah, there you go. See, what happened is you turn on MTV, and they used to play videos. You know what I'm saying? Like music videos. And it wasn't reality TV shows, kids. Believe it or not, you'd watch music videos. And then they had world premiere videos. And it was like, dude, when they played a world premiere video, everybody was like, dude, did you see that video? Oh, my God. You know, it's cool. Well, my mom got involved in this. They premiered one video on a Friday night. My mom, she made popcorn in a skillet on the stove. Oh, school. You know what I'm talking about? We had a microwave, but it was as big as our kitchen. So she's like, we didn't even have microwave then. It was like, dude, we going popcorn. We got popcorn. We got out in front of the TV. This was about 1983, I believe. And this video was going to be the one that changed everything, all right? So you're going, I don't understand. What are you talking about? Well, maybe some of you will remember this. Let's see. Turn it up for him, John. Oh, yeah. Everybody's like, what you talking about? Y'all remember yet? Anybody know? Oh, dude, this was a big deal, dude. Woo! Don't make me get crazy up in here. Oh, I see you in the shadows over there. You got the head bob going, don't you? Come on. Can you feel it this morning, young people? Let me tell you, this is what happened right there. We just start dancing. My mom was like, oh! Then she's like, come on, get it. Oh! Oh! Y'all remember what I'm talking about? Oh! Dude, y'all remember this? Don't make me throw the thrill. And then I said, oh! Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Right? All right, dude. Oh, I better stop it, dude. I forgot you ain't got control of that. That's me. Woo! I'm getting excited up in here. Let me tell you why, dude. That back there, when Thriller came out, dude, everybody watched. I mean, you got around your TV and everybody was just on, and it had a story and it was this whole thing and everybody was in it. My mom was like, this is pretty cool, you know? And Michael Jackson was black. Do y'all remember that? Only people of the 80s remember that, right? That's my brother, dude. There he is. Had that red jacket on and them black stripes. And I was like, yeah, boy, that's what I'm talking about, Michael. Oh, anyway, I got it. But that was what it was. It was just all these good memories. Well, here's the thing that's crazy. It wasn't just the videos and it wasn't the hair and all that stuff. There was another theme that went in that same kind of genre, and that is this. The 80s was all about excess. Do you remember this? Like, if you can go back in time, think about what happened. Did you hear the little MTV catchphrase Billy Idol said? Too much is never enough. Too much is never enough. That's not quite, English, but work with me. But he was like, you know what, dude? More. Too much is never enough. It didn't matter what you looked at, how it went on. That was the way it was. Girls, you're going to get this. Because there was a lady in the 80s that was too much was never enough. Here's a little video to remind you. Check this out. Y'all remember that? I cut that out so I could do it. But no, that's right. That was. Do you see them like giving her all the gifts? And here's what it was about in the 80s. If you didn't grow up then, if you don't know what was going on, let me put it in one word for you. More. 80s was about more. Give me more. Give me more TV. Give me more stuff. Give me more of everything. And if you were a guy, let's listen. I mean, Madonna, that whole deal. You're like, okay, that's cool. But if you were in rock and roll, if you were in music, the 80s was very different because on the stage, let me give you just an example. You didn't play one guitar. You had all guitars. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't just like one or two. It was like you put every guitar you owned. And it was about not one, but more. Give every guitar. These are some of Sean's guitars, really the guy that plays for us. He was a product of the 80s as well, so look at all his guitars. Cool, right? Bigger cabinets, Marshall cabinets, higher, more speakers, more. Listen, dude, believe it or not, some dude made these for us. Those things aren't even real. Give him some love for that, huh? That looks pretty damn good. That's cool. But it wasn't just the guitars, dude. It went over here. Do y'all see this kick drum back here? Check out my boy and this kick drum. Big, dude, more drums. And now you're going, I don't understand. Well, there was a group back in the 80s called Iron Maiden. Y'all know who I'm talking about? Yeah. See, y'all are like, dude, give me some heavy stuff. Yeah. Right? Check out this cat's drums. Look at what this boy had here. I got a little picture for you because this is the actual drum set from the dude that was in the 80s. I'm not making this stuff up. Y'all remember Motley Crue had the whole drum set that would spin and all this stuff, blah, 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 you know. All of these things. Rush, a great example. Yeah, all these different things. They were all about more, more, more. Give me, give me, give me, give me, give me. That was kind of the idea. It wasn't just about the instruments. More drugs, more women than ever before. It was kind of the whole idea of the 80s. But it wasn't just in that idea. I'm going to tell you something that happened to both men and women. There was a phenomenon that happened that actually affected the world we live in to a global degree. And it was that we had more hairspray being consumed in the 80s than any other genre. And you're going, I don't understand. Let me show you a picture. Check out this picture of this lady right here, huh? Look at the hair standing up on top of her head. Now, that one looks okay. It's dark. You go, I don't know if I can see that. Check out my blonde-headed chick right here, though. Look at this next one. Throw it up there for him. Give him a little love on it. How about that? Huh? How crazy was that hair, man? You want to know what happened to the ozone? It was the 80s. That's what happened to the ozone. You know what I'm saying? We jacked that whole thing up, man, because we were spraying that hair. But it wasn't just the women. I'm going to be honest with you. It happened to be some of the men as well. This affected both those. Throw that next one up there. How about that? Dude, that's some white snake right there. And it's still in the night, I'm in a walk out, honey. Y'all remember that? Them dudes were crazy. They had big hair. They used just as much hairspray and mousse as everybody else, right? But let me tell you something. There were some common things going on. It was always about excess. It was about more. And a movie came out in 1987 that really and truly echoed that whole theme. This movie was a big deal. Matter of fact, they've put a little sequel, and it's in today's world as well, so some of you may remember this. But let me tell you, it meant something in the 80s because it was a statement. This movie made a statement, and it was, again, echoing throughout everybody that grew up in the 80s. The guy's name, happened in 1987, was Gordon Gekko. So some of you are like, what movie is that? It's called Wall Street. And listen to what Gordon had to say all the way back then that still rings true today. Check this out.
The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that greed, for lack of a better word, is good. Greed is right. Greed works. Greed clarifies, cuts through, and captures the essence of the evolutionary spirit. Greed in all of its forms. Greed for life, for money, for love, knowledge, has marked the upward surge of mankind, and greed, you mark my words, will not only save Teldar paper, but that other malfunctioning corporation called the USA. Thank you very much.
Now, how ironic is that? 1987. Greed will save the U.S. Ask Bernie Madoff that same question. Isn't it funny how even back then, that was kind of the idea. More, give me, it's all about me, excess. And still today, 2011, the same thing is there. So there are similarities, and it's not just when it comes to the decades and the times, but that same kind of attitude happens right now at this time of year like no other. That MTV phrase, too much is never enough, is all about Christmas, isn't it? And when you start thinking about Christmas in this generation and all generations before, it's all about excess. It's all about too much is never enough. Give me, give me, give me, give me. Pile it on. And here's what happens. I'm raising 3 kids. 10 years now I've been doing this, roughly. Never once in all of those years has any one of those kids come around a corner, looked at the Christmas tree and all those presents and went, Dad, it's just too much. No, take it back, Dad. Take it back. Every one of them are like, yeah, the mother load. You know what I'm saying? They're so excited. They're like, dude, this is it. Look, here's a picture of a kid. And this is really what they look like. When you see them on Christmas morning, they're not looking at those presents and thinking, no, not about me. Throw it up there for them so they can see. Look at that right there. See how cute is that? They're going, you know what, man? It's like, dude, thank you. This is awesome. Give me more. We're conditioned for it. From the earliest age all the way on, we're looking for how much more can we get? How many more presents? How much more stuff? Can we get? It doesn't just happen in your childhood. It happens in adulthood. It keeps on going on. I'm guilty right now, dude. I have a nice truck. love it, but I would sure like a Jeep Wrangler orange with a black top. Can I get a witness? Because it's just what I like. I was like, dude, man, I used to have a Jeep. I love that Jeep. Man, it'd be cool if I had that. And that's kind of what goes on. You just keep going, man, I need more. I'd like to have more. We like our house, but man, wouldn't it be nice if you had a little more house? Man, we like this, but wouldn't it be more if you had a little more? It's kind of the way it is in the culture that we're in. It's the world that we live in. It's the lives that we live. So I went back and off of Gordon's comment and him saying greed is good. I went and looked up in Webster, what does Webster have to say about greed? How is it defined? And here's what it says. Greed is an intense, selfish desire. We highlighted the word selfish because I want you to understand something. Greed is not about anybody else but you. You don't care about anybody else. You're not worried about anybody else. Greed is about us, me, mine, give me, give me, give me. And even when Gordon's talking in America, it's kind of the whole idea is we don't care about everybody else, just what about us? It's kind of the world that we live in. It's what's going on. And then you kind of throw in the idea as Christians, we're no different. You can call yourself a believer. It doesn't matter what denomination you go to. We all struggle with the same concept. It's because it is a part of the world that we're living in. But let me give you some news. It was also a part of the world that Jesus was living in. So you throw Jesus in the mix, and man, he will jack you up. He says things. There's ways that he interacted with people. There's stories. There's examples where you start looking at this a little bit deeper, and you're like, wow. See, because I want to be a follower of Christ. I want to be a Christian. I want to do what he asked me to do. And if you're going to be a Christian and you have the label, the name, whatever it is, forget denomination, dude. I want to be a believer. I want to be a follower of Christ. Well, you got to do what he asked you to do. You got to kind of read what he's saying and apply it to where you are. And not just be reading it, but actually put it into your life. So then I have to look it up, and I'm like, all right, what does Jesus have to say about this? So the first questions that are kind of going on in Scripture is this. Is it all about you, or do you care about anybody else? See, those are the kind of things he'd throw out all the time. You can look at every example of Jesus walking this planet. And he was always challenging the disciples. He was always challenging any followers. But who's the focus? Is it all about you? Or is it all about other people? Then you look at a passage of Scripture that's found in Scripture in 1 John chapter 3. And look at what it says. If anyone has material possessions and sees his brother in need but has no pity on him, does not care, how can the love of God be in him? Dear children, let us not love with words or tongue, but with actions and truth. You see, because what he's saying here is like talk is cheap. I mean, I'm thinking about not only just individually, but I start thinking about the Simple Church as a group. Well, we love this community, love God and love people. Do we? I mean, I want it to be real, I want it to be accurate, but then I start really challenging myself. If anyone has material possessions, but sees his brother in need, how can you say the love of God is in you when you don't care about him? And then I start thinking about honest and truly, like if I get in my truck today and I drive downtown beautiful Shreveport and I see a homeless guy, do I care? Or am I consumed with me at that point? Do I ignore the needs? Do I start just kind of getting, well, you know what, I just can't change everything. I mean, I just got to have my excuses, my rationale, and I just kind of roll through it. And then Jesus the whole time starts jacking with you. And the reason I want you to kind of wrap your head around it, because listen, it's cool to have stuff. It's not, he doesn't say, hey, you can't have anything. He's like, if you got it, you got to share it. That's why we're doing coats for kids and trying to do it. Just think about this. How many coats are in your closet? Just process this for a minute. I know personally in my hall closet, I can barely shut the closet door because I have so many coats. But the theory and the comment that Jesus is showing us through Scripture is here. How can you have so many coats, but yet a brother that you see has no coat? And you keep piling the closet, man. How many toys do your kids have? It's just overflow. Dude, I can't even shut the toy box. You know what I'm saying? But yet there's someone who may be in need, and yet we ignore the fact that need is there. See, because I'm no different than you, man. I struggle with it. I'm guilty of it. I ain't got it together. And I'm sitting there going, all right, God, I want to do the right thing. You got to help me. And I don't want to be just a mouth. I don't want to just be talking. And then there's no action to it because he says, man, that's not what it's about. And then you look at someone who walked with Jesus. And this dude was the name of Judas. Now, if you know Judas, dude, he wasn't a cool cat. He messed up. But notice how you can use your mouth to try to divert the attention when there's really something else going on. And this happens in church a lot. Look at what Judas says. Why wasn't this perfume sold for 300 silver coins and the money given to the poor? You ever said to somebody like that, like, why'd y'all spend money on this? And why'd you do money on this? I don't understand all that. So begin to question the whole idea of what's going on. Because right now, remember, if you know this story, the prostitute comes in and pours out her perfume on Jesus' feet, worshiping him and saying, I'm so unworthy and I'm bringing everything to you, Jesus. And then there's a skeptic on the side going, that was a waste of money. But look at what Jesus shows about his heart. Judas did not really care about the poor. He asked this because he carried the money bag and sometimes would steal from it for himself. See, he wasn't really worried about the poor. He's worried about himself. It wasn't about anybody else. It was me, selfish, intense, desire for more. And in the middle of all this, he's like, dude, I don't care about anybody else. I'm sitting here going right now, hey, what's in this for me? And so then you begin to kind of question and divert and try to get the attention off of everybody but you. But the reality is God keeps going, what about you, Justin? What about you? Whatever your name is. But it doesn't stop there. You got to go in and look at Jesus himself. Because Jesus talked a lot about some crazy stuff, but this is one issue he actually addressed personally. Luke 12. Jesus actually has this comment, beware, guard your heart. Guard against every kind of greed. Life is not measured by how much you own. Do you know why he had to say that? It's because their time was just like our time. We all are into the comparison business, looking around and going, man, I don't have this. Man, what'd you get for Christmas? Well, I wish I'd have, did you get the Xbox? Oh, man. Oh, did you get a new car? Oh, I wish And Jesus is going, no, listen to me. Significance is not measured by how much you own. Life is not about stuff. It's about people. It's about relationships. And it goes way deeper than it is how much stuff you got. What kind of car you drive, what kind of house you live in. See, and Jesus knew that, man, he'd cut right through it. He just always got right down to the issue. Well, I was getting ready for this message, and I ran across a movie called Intolerable Cruelty. I don't know if you know what this movie's about, but it's set with these two individuals, and they're trying to get through life, and they're confronted with this kind of issue. They're very selfish people, and they're both going through divorce. And anytime you go through divorce, dude, it's hard not to focus on yourself because, dude, it's like who gets the couch and who gets the car, and everybody's trying to divide, and you're fighting, and it's court, and it's lawyers, and it's just ugly, and everybody's all in the middle of all this, and you kind of get in this place of going, dude, I'm going to get mine. I'm going to get mine. Remember, my parents went through divorce, so I understand. I've married someone who's been divorced. I understand how it is. It's not like I'm up here judging you. I just want you to know that I can relate, bro. I feel your pain. It's the world we live in. And it's complicated and it's ugly. And what happens is it turns into that selfishness real quick. You're not concerned with anybody else. You're not caring. You kind of get into that protection mode. Man, what about me? What about me? Well, this movie follows these two characters, and in the middle of this, I'm fixing to show you a scene where they've been working hard, fighting for what they want, their independence, their resources. But again, the clip shows you the reality of what all of that adds up to and what they're left with in the end. Check this out.
Co-Ponsardin, 1990, sir.
Yes. Thank you. I'll take care of it. Marilyn, this is a moment to savor. Yes, we were adversaries, but we were also professionals. So let us raise a glass to friendship.
To victory.
So, how does it feel?
Sorry?
victory, independence.
Oh. Well, frankly, Miles,
It's not everything you'd hope for. I know the feeling.
independence. Two-edged sword. My best friend, Sarah Sorkin. Sarah Batista O'Flanagan Sorkin.
The O'Flanagan settlement? Huh.
Anyway, 3 fine settlements, more money than she could ever hope to spend.
Yes.
Her vaunted independence.
Don't tell me. She sits around the house, afraid to see people, afraid to put a portfolio into play.
And only a peptic ulcer to keep her warm at night.
Yes. There's a certain point when you've achieved your goals.
You realize that you're still not satisfied.
Yes. We should order.
You know, I'm not really hungry.
Neither am I.
Can you relate to that? You know, you work hard, man. Fighting for yourself, getting what you want, trying to do everything for yourself, and in the middle of it, you get it, and it ain't all you cracked up to be. It's like, man, it's not what I thought it was. And it leaves you empty, and you're trying to figure it out. It's the same way with the new car. It's the same way with the bigger house. It's the same way with the shopping spree. And that's what the problem is with more for yourself, is it never adds up. And Jesus knew that, so he was trying to protect us from it. He's like going, I'm trying to help you. You keep thinking it's excess. You keep thinking it's more. You keep thinking it's this, and it's not. So I had this whole concept come to my mind and this question to ask you that I'm asking myself, and that is, this Christmas, what do you care about? I mean, is it you? Is it your own personal gain? Is it your own personal stuff? Is it people? I mean, what matters right now? Stuff or people? What matters, you or others? Because if you're honest and if you're like me, dude, it's a struggle. And we're trying to work through this. So as we come in, we have some fun with the 80s. We laugh a little bit. But let's be honest, man. Our goal is to be different when we walk out of here, to change our families, to change our lives. And we have to ask them hard questions. And then we got to look at some scripture that'll help us. And in Philippians, look at what it says here. This is Philippians chapter 2. He gives us some instruction on what we're supposed to be doing. He says, don't be jealous, looking at other people's stuff. Don't be proud, thinking you deserve better than this. But be humble and consider others more important than yourselves. Care about them as much as you care about yourselves. Think the same way that Jesus Christ thought. He gave up everything and became a slave when he became like one of us. He came in the form of a baby in a manger. Not as a king, not as a proud, I'm the king of the world, serve me. But in the form of a slave and a servant. And said, I'm here to serve. I'm here to give back. I'm here to die for you. And he challenges us as Christians. You can't call yourself a Christian and be all about yourself. He's going, that don't work. Care about others more than you care about yourself. Get the priorities right. Look at everything. Get it straight. Listen, you can't say, man, I care about you. And honestly and truly, you're working so hard for more stuff. And you never look up. You never look around at the needs that are surrounding you. Man, this dude, Jesus, showed up and did it crazy different. Totally focused on others. And a Christian means little Christ. And I'm going, I ain't there yet, man. So then I was going home and I turned on the iPad and I'm looking at iTunes and I'm trying to figure out all these different things of this Christmas is going to be about, and I run across a song, and I see the word care on there. And I've already kind of started to look at all the care in the scriptures and all these different things is care more about others than you do yourself. And I see this song, and I'm like, man, what's this about? I'm like, Kid Rock. I'm like, what? Yes. Kid Rock and care? What is this? So then I hit iTunes, and I start watching it. The band's going to come up because we're going to play it. Because as they're making their way up, this is what got me. The song says, the least that I can do is care. I mean, it's one of those things where, look, you can't change the world you're in, man. You can't stop the war overseas. You can't shelter all the homeless in the city. I mean, you can't do a lot of things, but the one thing that we can do, the one thing that we're called to do, not by just Kid Rock, but more importantly, Jesus himself, is to care, to honest and truly care. It's the least that we can do this Christmas. As they play the song, listen to the words, man. Think about your life. Let it encourage you, let it challenge you, and I'm going to come back just a couple of minutes to talk a little bit more about it. Check this out.
Day by day, my life gets colder. My eyes grow thin as I get older. Piece in pieces, bloody and bruised. I feel so helpless and confused. 'Cause I hear you screaming on the left, yelling on the right, sitting in the middle trying to live my life. 'Cause I can't stop the war, shelter homeless, leave the poor. I can't walk on water, can't save sons and daughters, and I can't change the world, things ain't fair. The least that I can do, the least that I can do, the least that I can do is care.
I pray and pray for life's salvation. Faith is tried and true in tribulation. Love is lost and lonely, check the news. And with these open arms I wait for you. 'Cause I hear screaming on the left, yelling on the right, sitting in the middle trying to live my life.
'Cause I can't stop the war, shelter homeless, feed the poor. Can't walk on water, can't save your sons and daughters. I can't change the world to make things fair. The least that I can do, the least that I can do, the least that I can do is
Yeah, man. It's a great job, man. You know, that's what's so cool about, music, man. It says it in a way that I hope you can relate to, that you can grab a hold of, is that, we can't necessarily go out today and build a shelter that'll take care of the homeless problem. The good news is the rescue mission has helped us with that. So it may not be your call, but the one thing that it might fall to you is that when you leave today, over the next week, next couple of weeks, is someone may cross your path and God's going to say, are you going to care? Or is your agenda and your time clock and your priorities so out of whack that you can't even see the needs that are around you? I know I can be guilty of it. I can sure get so caught up with myself, man, that I forget what's going on around me. So this Christmas, here's my challenge to you. I'm challenging you to look for opportunities to care. Oh, they're around us. We just have to open our eyes. We have to be sensitive to them. And the Simple Church has come up with a couple of ways that you can be involved with that. Let me give you the good news is Earlier today, we were handing out boxes to try to take care of Bossier Elementary in the neighborhood that right there at the foot of Texas Street Bridge that's such in need of food. And as crazy it is, just have Christmas dinner. We've already given out every box at all the early services. They've taken up over 500 boxes have gone out. And our prayer is that we'll take the opportunity to care for that neighborhood, to fill it with some food, to buy some groceries, and put a ham in there. They're putting some money in there, and then we're going to go and just take it and deliver it on December 17th into all those neighborhoods and all those homes and say, man, we just want you to know that we care. It ain't changing the world, man, but it does provide one meal and it lets them know that somebody's thinking about them and caring about them. But it doesn't just stop there. So some of you are going, man, do you have any opportunities left? Is there anything else we can do? I believe God will show you some, but I'm going to tell you about some of the things that we've come up with. One thing is this, is in Rwanda, there are ladies over there that are widows. 1 million people were killed in the 90s, left them alone, no food, no way to take care of their kids. And believe it or not, when we go over there, not only do we help feed them and drill wells and give them water, all those things, these ladies now have created a whole sewing shop. And in the process of this sewing shop, let me just show you this bag, man. This is what's crazy. They have worked from the time we were there this summer till right now making handmade bags for you in Bossier City. And right outside the door, and you go up there on the right, and they're available for sale. How much are they? You know, we don't care. Pay what you want to pay. We're requesting around $30, and then every bit of that money will go back into those people, into those widows. I hope, though, you'd give more than that and go, hey, dude, I want to help them out. My commitment to you is this, is we're not going to take a dime of the money. Anything we sell, anything we try to give, it doesn't come to us. It's not about the simple church. So some of you would go, well, wait a second, dude, it sounds like you're turning into a store, because I got more opportunities. But before I share this, I want to explain something to you. I live in the United States of America. I've been here my whole life. Traveled now to multiple countries around the world. And the one thing I figured out is this. Unfortunately, Americans don't typically give without getting something in return. It's the way the world is. I'm not saying it's right. I'm telling you that's the world we're in. So for us to be able to encourage you to care about somebody else, we want to give you something. We want to say, hey, man, when you do this, when you buy this or you get involved with this, it helps someone else around the world. And it's not just theory. We go, we see it, we're in these places. The same way with the coffee. I don't know if you know, but whenever we're talking about the coffee that we sell for Christmas and it's out there at the go tables, why do we do this? It's because we go to those villages. We see it feeding kids. We see those people getting excited of going, hey, you know what? This is a big deal, man. You're helping us. You're providing for us. You're giving us a way to make a living and take care of our families. So we don't get anything off of this. It all goes back over there. We go to Juarez, Mexico, and right now their desperate need is to try to fill a food pantry. And our friend in Juarez is going, man, here's what I want to do. Man, why don't you just sell some recycled grocery bags? We'll put those out there, and then when they buy those, we'll take all of the money and we'll fill the food pantry for all of those kids down in Juarez so that they can eat, so that they can take care of their families. I'm going, dude, yeah, we'll do that. All of these different products. And let me tell you, the most exciting product that everybody's all freaked out about is the LSU t-shirts we just released today. Love God, love people, love the Tigers. So some people are going, I hate LSU. The cool thing about the product is this, is we're going to take every dime that we make off those LSU t-shirts and we're going to drill wells around the world so the kids and families have clean water. On January 8th, we're going to have a big Tiger Day. If you hate LSU, stay away from church that day. But we're going to take all of the proceeds from those LSU t-shirts and we're going to drill wells. We're going to take care of people that don't even have that need. I mean, they don't even have that resource. They have the need. They're so desperate for it. But you can do that by buying an LSU shirt, wear it on January 8th, have a lot of fun with it. But I understand there are limited sizes today. There's not just a whole lot available. There'll be some available next week as well. So if you don't have your size out there, you can pick that up next week. All of those products, all of those things, listen to me. We know that at Christmas you're going to spend money somehow. Our hope and our prayers is that some of those resources will go back into individuals, into situations, into products that will continue to make an impact in the world, that will show that we care, not just with our mouth, but going, man, this is reality of how we can put that into action. And again, if you're the cynical person that's going, whatever, man, listen, dude, I've been there too. I've been times in my life where I'm like, oh, man, you don't care. This is just a bunch of bull. I can just tell you this, man. We're not the perfect church. We don't get everything right. But the one thing that has been known about the Simple Church from the time we started is we'll do everything we can to try to make a difference in this city that we're in these cities that we're in this community that we're in and around the world. It's not about us. We try to give everything that I've talked about in here, we give every bit of that money back into the community. Every bit of it goes out to try to make a difference around the world or in this community. But I know what's going on with some of you. You're going, man, I don't know if I'm going to do any of that at all. Here's my thing. Look for an opportunity to care with your neighbor, with your coworker, with a friend. I don't know what God's going to put in your path, but I do know that he's going to challenge you to remember to care. And I know what some of you are thinking. You're like, dude, okay, that's a good speech, Justin. Thank you. We love you, but that's not good for me because I really don't care. And some of you are going, no, nobody really feels that way. Oh, trust me, they do. It doesn't matter who you are. You gather people together and like, dude, I just don't care. Well, here is the good news, is that the God that I know has the power to change your heart. The only thing that we can hope for is that you have a heart change, that you begin to see it clear, you begin to understand what God's about. And just yesterday, I went home after doing a funeral, and in the middle of doing this funeral, whatever, it's kind of heavy because you think about what life's all about. Man, it's good, because it's a good friends, and you think about that, but at the same time, you're like, man, life is short. Come in, and my kids are all watching a movie in their room. They're all piled up, and I look on, it's one of my favorite Christmas movies. It was my daughter's favorite Christmas movie. And in the middle of that, I see the scene again, and I'm like, that's what it's about. It's not about our stuff. Maybe this Christmas, this clip will help you understand what it's all about. Check it out.
Then the Grinch heard a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, this sounded merry. But it was merry. Very. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came.
Somehow or other, it came just the same.
And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling.
How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags.
And he puzzled and puzzled till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before.
Maybe Christmas,
he thought,
doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more.
Max! Help me! I'm feeling...
And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day.
What's happening to me?
What's happening to me? The Grinch began to care. He began to care. And the only way he did it is by a change of heart. And some of you are going, man, I don't even know if that's possible. Look what it says, man. It's not just in kids' movies. God's word says it. Psalm 51. David cried out to God, God, make me a clean heart. God, give me a right spirit. Change who I am. The best part is how God responds in Ezekiel. This is just another example of what God's heart is. And here's what he says. He says, and I will give you a brand new heart. I will put a new spirit in you. I'll take out your stony, stubborn heart, and I'll give you a tender, responsive heart. See, God says, listen, man, if you ask, I'll help you. The cynic, the stubborn, the hard-hearted person here today, the Grinch, is, man, I got to believe that if you'll ask today for God to change you, he'll meet you right where you sit. Would you pray with me? God, in this room, there are people that are having a hard time. Circumstances, situations have made it to where they really don't believe. They're really and truly having a hard time getting the focus off of themselves. And God, I just pray that you would remind them that you love them, that you came for them, that you came in the form of a baby in a manger to show again that you love them, not to be all about you, God, but to serve, to earn the right to be loved, God, to model all the things that you did in this life, God, for us to model our lives after you. That, God, as a result of that, Lord, could trust you, that they would believe in you, that they would admit that their way's not working. They would admit that they're a sinner, that they would believe maybe for the first time that you didn't stay in that manger, that you grew up, God, and you served and you gave, and you eventually gave your life on a cross and shed your blood for us. But, God, you didn't just stay in the grave, God, you overcame the grave to give us the power to overcome whatever dead life we're in. And God, if you tell us, if we'll commit ourselves to you, God, you'll walk with us and you'll help us to be able to care for others even when we don't have it in of ourselves. God, you will help us have the ability to put others first. But God, we got to admit it. We got to believe. God, we got to commit ourselves to you. So God, maybe somebody in this room is doing that today. And God, I know you'll meet them there. God, thank you for showing up. Thank you, God, for giving to us. Thank you, God, for caring about us. In Jesus' name, amen. Here's the cool thing, man, as we wrap up today. I hope you've had a good time. I hope it works for you. But I'm going to promise you, we're just getting started, man. We are getting ready to have a good time next week. And we have an unplugged Christmas Eve. That's kind of the 80s vibe. We're having an unplugged acoustic Christmas Eve. 3 services, so mark that down. And maybe just possibly you've prayed to receive Christ today. You've made a decision to follow him and you want to get baptized. On that Christmas Eve service, we're going to baptize that night. Here's how we're going to do it. We're actually going to baptize at 11 o'clock during the day so that you can come up, have your family or whatever. We're going to record it and we're going to show it that night. Why? So that you don't have to sit wet in our good seats. How you doing? You know what I'm saying? So that'll just be something really and truly kind of fun, but that way you don't have to worry about getting dressed in the middle of the night and all that stuff, trying to get worried about being cold. We'll film it during the day and we'll show it in our service. We're going to have communion that night, some great music, baptism on video. It's going to be really, really special. That is Christmas Eve. But don't forget, how can you carry? You can do coats. Bring those coats, man. Next week, you can go by the Ask Me table out there, look at all the different resources they have, the Go table, and again, maybe you can find these things that you can get plugged into and continue to make a difference in the community. So before we go, we got one more 80s song. I told you we had some 80s. We don't give it good, but you don't have to stay. Here's the good news. You're officially dismissed if you want to, but some of you can be like, no, dog, I got to have some of that. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to, feel free to. But until next week, peace. I love me some rock and roll.